Administration Portal. Let's take a look at the administration tools. When we talk about administration, Truyo has our portal, which covers the management of privacy and consent across all your various website properties. We're not going to cover multi-brands during this demonstration, but we do have the ability for an organization with multiple sub-brands to grant the rights for individuals to have requests processed across all brands, or each brand's request can be processed individually. When a consumer request comes in, it's broken down into a series of tasks. Here we can look at a couple of requests that are on file, and we'll see that tasks were generated for this specific request. Each of these tasks focuses on what we call a system. A system is a business unit within your organization that needs to process some part of a privacy request. Systems themselves are broken into two categories: data sources, which are internal to your organization, and vendors, which are external third parties that you conduct business with. For the case of data sources, many data sources are actual IT systems. They are the platforms that you use to operate your business. For example, Salesforce for CRM, Zendesk for your support team, Microsoft Dynamics, and maybe Magento as your website. For these types of systems, Truyo provides automation. When we talk about automation, we define that as actual data automation. Oftentimes, you'll hear the term automation, and what is actually being referred to is ticket automation, where tickets are sent to people to make sure that the work gets done in response to a privacy request. We can do that kind of management for situations where the process cannot be fully automated. For example, say that you have an employee, Ray, in the records department, and he has a file cabinet full of papers. The only way that he's going to respond to that right-to-know privacy request is to scan those papers into a PDF document and submit it as part of the response. We do handle those types of cases, but here's the advantage to using Truyo to its full potential. We take automation to the next level. For example, first we would connect to Salesforce and extract the data automatically. Second, we assemble it and connect into Microsoft Dynamics and find all the entries there. Third, we will connect to Zendesk, find all the support tickets for this particular person that made the request, and lastly, we'll gather all the necessary data from the different systems and return it to the consumer in response to a right-to-know request. That's how we define data automation. We also have a second feature called change automation, which deals with do not sell requests, deletion requests, or GDPR dispute requests. These may change the actual data stored in your systems. For example, a deletion request may require you to delete a particular person's record out of Salesforce or delete transactions in Zendesk before a certain date. With change automation, we'll make those modifications. We can delete information, blank fields, anonymize or pseudo-anonymize certain data elements, all in response to incoming requests. When we use the term automation, we're talking about our Truyo solution connecting to a portion of your IT systems or environment and making those adjustments automatically. Let's discuss vendors for a moment. Vendors are third parties with which you exchange consumers' personal information. Perhaps it's a research firm that's doing some analytics for you, or a marketing firm that's running an email campaign for you. The idea is that you have given a portion of your collection of personal information to one of these vendors, and because you've given that out, if a request comes in, for example to delete somebody's information as part of the regulations, you need to pass that request on to those external third parties. The vendors will receive an email, and in that email we will give them a link that sends them to a website that gives them the basic information, in this case who the person is, their email address, the request to delete all data under CCPA. When the external third party fulfills the task, they can then click the Complete Task button and indicate that they've finished this work. You can also see that they are being reminded that this task is past due at this time. The advantage is that you as an organization retain all the necessary audit trails. The vendor was sent the email, the vendor opened the email, clicked on the button that said yes, and then they deleted the information. This is what your organization needs in order to maintain the proper audit trail of satisfying these privacy requests. One of the most important things that Truyo can do once we have an understanding of all the different sources of data within your organization is ensure that for any given request, only the parts of your organization that need to get involved are involved. When we create one of these data sources, there are options that will allow you to adjust if a particular entity or data source needs to get involved in a particular type of request. You can indicate that certain sources are not involved in certain types of requests. For example, maybe you know that this source of information doesn't have to process do not sell requests. You can indicate that certain systems have to go last or create certain sequences. This is especially useful in IT environments where you have System A feeding data to System B, and you need to ensure that System A has the data removed before System B so that the data doesn't automatically get repopulated. You can also create dependencies which indicate that this data source only needs to get involved if another data source has information. For example, I can tell Truyo not to get my marketing department involved unless it recognizes a record in Salesforce. To bring it back to our previous example, don't ask Ray from the records department to look for any documents unless Dynamics indicates that the person has made a purchase with us in the past. Sequences and conditions can be set up using simple checkboxes and within Truyo to adjust the workflow to minimize the amount of work that needs to be done, saving you time and money. Another aspect of reducing work is that all regulations have the ability to provide for exemptions. Exemptions mean that there are systems that can legitimately retain data even in the face of a request. What Truyo allows you to do is create what we call conditional output. And you can say very simply, if someone gives me a CCPA delete request and it goes to my accounting system, automatically reject that request. For this reason, and there are a lot of options that you can use to add additional conditions into the system, requiring it to check values in the data. So, for example, if your consumer's warranty is currently active, you will ask it to reject this request, all the while allowing you to set up the various exemptions that you may have within the regulations. Within Truyo, at the end of each day, tasks are generated for the various parts of the organization. Tasks that go to data sources that are automated will automatically be closed and processed by our solution using our automation connector. One of the big things for your privacy department or whoever is in charge of your privacy group is to check the Truyo reports. We provide a variety of reports for operational purposes. What kinds of requests you're getting and what state of completion they are in. One of the most important graphs is the average time to complete. Here you can see an example of a very manual processed organization where they are fulfilling requests with only human resources, no automation. It can take a substantial amount of time to gather all the data and respond to those requests. Here's an example of a client that is using Truyo's complete automation. You'll see that the time to complete a request is remarkably low here in a matter of days, because our automated solutions are processing the requests on behalf of the organization. There are other graphs that we also provide here, such as what types of requests are being created, how many are completed, and if there have been any extensions requests. This can all be exported and given to your executive team. As I'm sure you're aware, CCPA requires certain companies to provide proactive reporting. That's why Truyo provides reports compliant CCPA, so you're always ready, always compliant.